Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Yinzers at the Point podcast. I am your host, Tyler Aaron. And if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, it is at TylerAaron65, or you can follow the show's Twitter and Instagram at PenguinsFans65, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, Yinzers at the Point. And in today's episode, it's a very special one as I am bringing on Joey Orsborn from the Joey Orsborn Show onto the podcast, and it's a great one. It's a historic moment for my podcast, and in today's episode, he and I reviewed the Bruins at Penguins game, the Penguins at Sabres game, and the Kraken at Penguins game. In the second segment, we review the update on the Penguins 2022 Winter Classic jerseys, and we wrap up the episode with potential trade targets that the Penguins could be going after, and that is all coming up right after this intro.
Oh, slap me, silly Sydney. Oh, save my face with a rusty razor. Oh, Murphy and the fans are planted like a butcher's dog. Oh, let's go hunt moose on a Harley. Oh, scratch my back with a hat. As he beats Theodore like a rated mule. Ladies and gentlemen, you got it. Elvis has just left the building.
All right, welcome back to this episode of the Yinzers at the Point podcast. I am your host, Tyler Aaron. Thank you all for joining in. It is a historic day for the Yinzers at the Point podcast, as I have on Joey Orsborn from the Joey Orsborn Show. Joey, how are you doing?
Good. How about you, Tyler?
I'm doing absolutely great now. Again, this is coming a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties earlier filming this on Tuesday, but we're back now, and I've been a little sick lately. So for this first segment, we're going to review the Bruins, Sabres, and Kraken game here. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it here. The Boston Bruins Penguins game. This was on November 1st. Scoring summary: Crosby, Malkin, Archibald, Rust, and Raquel gets the goals for the Penguins, and the Penguins have a 5-2 lead at one point in this game. Excuse me. Jeez, okay. Then for the Bruins, Charlie Coyle, Jacob Luco, Brad Marchand, Pavel Zacha, Taylor Hall, and then in overtime, Hampus Lindholm scores for the Bruins, and the Bruins come back to beat the Penguins 6-5 in overtime here. Boston beats Pittsburgh in shots on goal in this one, 40-38. Pittsburgh does beat Boston in hits in this one, 48-38. So, I just want to quickly go through these games recap so we can talk a lot about the Penguins' issues here. So, Joey, you can go right ahead and read the Sabres Penguins.
All right. So from the Buffalo game here on November 2nd, Penguins lost 6-3. Three stars of the game were Tates Thompson, Toots, and Owen Powell, basically here. So, scoring-wise, for the Penguins, we had Jason Zucker with a slap shot and her salute there that I got Yago going there a little bit. We had George Orsborn having a goal there, and then Jake Gens for a power play. And for the Sabres, John Jason Patrica, I think that's how you say his name, at the first one. Power play goal, Tates Thompson. Goal, Victor Olofsson. Alex Toots with a goal. Kyra Poster with a goal, and then Victor Olofsson with his second of the game to make the game 6-3. For Penguins-wise, a lot of penalties I'm looking at here. I think that looks like 5 of them. Sabres only had 4, so they kept it down pretty little here. But let's look here if we can get the shots and stuff here. So, shots on goal, Buffalo beat the Penguins 33-21. Penalties, Penguins had 5, Buffalo had 4, like I said already. Both had power play goals. And then hits, Penguins beat them in hits 12-8. So Tyler, back onto the Kraken game here.
All right, so in this Kraken game, the Penguins unfortunately fall to the Seattle former Penguins, as I would like to say this, 3-2 here. Vince Dunn, Yanni Gourde, and Brandon Tanev gets the goals for the Kraken, and for the Penguins, Crosby gets his sixth of the year, and Getzel gets his sixth of the year as the lone 2 goals for this game. Shots on goal. Pittsburgh beats the Kraken in shots 37-28, and the Kraken beat the Penguins in hits 35-34. And unfortunately, the Kraken do sweep the Penguins in the season series here, as they beat the Penguins last week in Seattle 3-1. And with that, the Penguins fall to 4-6-2 now, 10 points in the Metro. That is 7th in the Metro, 24th in the league. The only team worse in the Metro than the Penguins is the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have a 3-9 record, only sitting at 6 points. But Joey, what's wrong with the Penguins? We've been on a losing streak. It's now to 7 games. Your last 10, you're 3-6-2, or 3-5-2, I think is what it is now. But
Yeah.
how do you, if as a Penguins fans, should Penguins fans be worried about this?
I'm gonna go off a limb here and say no. The Penguins, they're a team that they have these stretches during the season every year. I think when one of the stretches right now, I think they'd be fine. I know definitely the last Seattle game was Saturday. It just seemed like they played good, but they just had bad luck. It was just bad luck on their part. They just couldn't get anything going. It's a lot of bad luck. And then power play, killing wise, it's been a massive struggle, and I think that lays on the head of Todd Wheeldon now. I think that's we expect him to be very good. He hasn't been, and I don't think we need a head coach and things. I don't think Sullivan's the problem. I think it's some of the assistant coaching that probably doesn't even replaced. Because I do think they need to do something here. But I think this game, probably for the most part, it's going to be tough with playing the Capitals next. But I think they're going to show up against the Capitals, and I think they're going to do something here. Against the Capitals, they always come to play hard against them. So I'm not worried about them for that one. I think they'll probably get the win there and get back on track. But I just think about the last couple of seasons anyway. They normally do not start off the year that well anyway. I feel like it's every year we have this discussion. It's the Penguins are done. This is finally the year. I know definitely 2019. I remember that one was a big one. 2020 was another one. But basically, they do this nearly every year. They struggle at the beginning. It seems like this is something they do. I'm not concerned about it just yet. I'm a little concerned. I do think they need to look against some trade skill here and there, especially with Kapanen and McGinn. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from them right now. I think they both have pretty sizable cap hits, and they really don't do enough to make me think they really deserve it. So I think they should look into getting a trade in general. I just think if they get a big trade here or something and use those 2 pieces, I think it'll be a lot better. I think Ty Smith's another guy. Call him up. Let's see what he can do. I think Sam Poland, they've been using him a little bit, but not that much. I think they give him more opportunities. Let him show what he can do, because I think this is a young guy with a lot of potential, a lot of skill. I think if you can use him here and see what he can do, if he can be a productive player, then that's very exciting for you. I think that's very good. I think that can lead to great things, and I think we need to just have a lot more younger players in the organization. I think being the oldest average on the league's not really a good thing. I think we are looking against more younger talent. I don't know if that's who. I think it's more through trades. I think we need to do this, because I don't think draft-wise they're going to be in spots to, be in positions where they can, get younger guys that are very good. Unless they somehow tank this year and get Bedard, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Pens will probably be fine. But that would be interesting if they get Bedard, Then I would start thinking, let's move on to the third center line and see what Bedard can do at the second.
It would be totally interesting.
Yeah, no, there's no way we're getting him, but unless they completely blow it from the out, I don't think they will. So, but honestly, I think this streak, it'll probably end soon. I don't think this is going to continue. I think the Penguins will be fine. they're just in one of those rough patches. They have them all throughout the year. They'll have them a couple times a year. I think this is probably just one of them, but they've had bad luck in a lot of games. Atrocious penalty killing. I think that needs to be something that needs to be addressed. Is the penalty kill. I think just defensively, they need some more young blood there. So I think you gotta look at some trades, call up TJ's. Ty Smith. Just see what you can do. I give POJ some more chances. I think he's been very good this year from what I've seen. He's been going out there. He's been playing hard. So I think just like change it up a little bit. See what you can do to try to improve this guy. I think you can definitely. This is a team that's a lot better than what it is right now. They're a lot better team, but they need to definitely improve in some areas. I think trade deadline wise, when it comes, I think they're going to be one of those teams that has to buy big. I think they have to buy a big piece. And honestly, I think that's the perfect thing they need to do. I've been thinking this for a couple years now. It's like they need a big piece that is young. That's what they need. The playoff trade first round draft picks, I don't know if they really want to do, but I think that's what they need is make a big trade at the trade deadline. What do you think, Tyler?
I know we're gonna explore into a trade later in this episode for the third segment, but I really don't know if a trade is really necessary right now. I mean, if you look at the standings right now, the Penguins are 5 points out of the playoffs, off of a wild card spot, and third place in the Metro. So that's only 2.5 games. So why are we panicking? Because eventually what's going to happen is the Penguins are going to go on a 5-6 game win streak. And suddenly Penguins fans will think that, oh, we're going to win the Stanley Cup because we're so good right now. And I would like to explore here everything wrong going on with the Penguins here. And it's also not like the Penguins haven't been trying, to win. Like, we saw it in the Penguins-Kraken game. Like, they controlled the puck. The physicality on the Penguins was really big. You didn't take as many penalties. You were the much more physical team. You had more shots on goal. And yet you can't get the win. It just feels like the team needs to hit the reset button. And it's not necessarily like we need a trade. We need to fire Sullivan. Definitely not on the hot seat. Am I right there, Joey?
Yeah, no,
Definitely
he's not on the hot seat. I think that'd be insanely stupid to do that. I think he is one of the best coaches out there. I think if you go out there, you're not going to find anyone better. I know a lot of people think like Trotz right now, but you can make the case Sullivan's a lot better than Trotz. Honestly, Trotz had that one Stanley Cup championship. He has good teams, but he's only proven himself the one time. Like, Sullivan's done it not only twice, but like, the Penguins are consistently good. They seem for the most part to beat the odds a lot. I think Sullivan, honestly, is one of the best in the league, and I don't think you're really going to find anyone better out there. I think the main problem right now is I think some of the roster structure is just not the best. I think Hextall, he's done a good job keeping the core together, but he's made some questionable moves. And I do think they need to explore options here. I think their core can probably turn it around, but I just think just more like future-wise, it's not like just past this year too. You're gonna have to get some more guys in here. You're gonna have to bring some more talent in that's younger and more proven. And I think that's something that I think this year, if they would do it, I think would definitely benefit them a lot. I think that's just generally. I know you don't think a trade would work right now. I'm not saying they need the trade. I'm thinking it's the perfect time to do a trade there. I think right now you can definitely make a good trade. Just look at what you have, especially trade deadline-wise as well. See what you have with the Penguins. Let's just think about this year, but just think, what about next year? What about the year after that? What can we do to continue this window? And I think just generally, call up some of the young guys. Just let get some young blood in here and let them play. I think that's the main thing. There's some great pieces here. I'm not going to say there's not, but I think there's some also pieces that just don't fit. I don't think Kaplan's really fit in here. I know we'll always had high ups from him. He hasn't really fit in. Again, he's just not like he has those good moments, but it's like you're paying him $3 million to do what exactly? He just doesn't really do much. There's some questionable players on the team. That's like I don't hate them, but I think we can get upgrades that can help us better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know exactly. And it's almost like a trade isn't intimate right now. Like, I think we have the depth in Wilkes-Barre. I think we can use those guys. I mean, it's a shame, the Penguins just called down Drew O'Connor. It sucks. Why would you do that? He's played very well. Uh, just earlier this afternoon, Penguins called up Philip Hollander. Excited to see what he can do here, but again, going back to Mike Sullivan and Ron Hextall here is with Ron Hextall. If it gets worse, I think Ron Hextall's the guy to go. He's made those questionable decisions, and it's definitely not Mike Sullivan. He is one of the highest paid NHL coaches in the league, and he is for a reason. He's locked up for the next 5 seasons, and definitely not on the hot seat. But Joe, you can chime in here, but I got a little list here of everything that's wrong with the Penguins right now.
Yeah.
And first, I got the entire bottom 6 here. The biggest question mark leading into the season, again, was the bottom 6. Is this going to be the Ray Shero days? Where it's just always a crappy bottom 6. But the expectations of the bottom 6, just hasn't been met. Dan Heinen is probably I don't know what to say. Probably the best of that bottom 6. He can perform anywhere in the lineup. He had 18 goals last season, and it's just a problem. Like, you got your problem guys. Kapanen's making $3.2 million, somehow getting a pay raise from last year for the next 2 seasons here. And little crazy stat here is Kasperi Kapanen in his first 12 games had 3 goals and 4 assists. This year, 1 goal and 3 assists. Definitely not worth a pay raise. And not only that, is in Kapanen's last 50 games as a Penguin, he's had 3 goals. 3 goals. So, bottom 6 got to be better. And, that's really where I think that depth can come up in Wilkes-Barre. And, euthanize, I guess, the bottom 6. But, Joey, are you, agreeing with me here on this of, we got the depth in Wilkes-Barre. Let's bring them up. And let's try and get rid of these contract cancers, I should say, to the Penguins.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I do think they have the depth. I know Pauline. I think he's still up enough. I'm not incorrect. I think he's still up though.
Yeah, he's still up as a third line center.
I think him. I think Holland as well. Flip Holland was number 1. Drew O'Connor. I'm interested to see what our first round pick's going to turn into. I know he's down at Wilkes-Barre went up. I'm interested to see what he turns into. Because when I look at him as a prospect, he was a guy who consistently improved over his junior career, and if he would continue to do that, I would be very interested to see what he can be. I think this is a guy who may have some potential here. So I think he's a name to watch out for, but as of right now, I think Wilkes-Barre, honestly, they do probably have some great pieces that need to be up here. I think Ty Smith, he's the big one in my mind. When I think what's down Wilkes-Barre, I think Ty Smith, I think Alex Nylander. Those are the 2 big names I think of when I think of those 2. Those are 2. I know Nylander has insane pedigree, 8th overall pick a couple years back. Got him pretty cheap just for Lafferty. Pretty much. But I think he's a very good one. I think he is someone they should be excited for as well. I think, honestly, when you're looking at it, in Wilkes-Barre, you have 5 or 6 good players, so I think you call them up by now. I think they were very good bottom 6. You still have to, see how they do, interact with the NHL game, because it's very different than the AHL, but I think they could do well. I agree with you on the youth here, and I think if it needs to happen, if it's gonna happen though, a trade's gonna have to happen. You're gonna have to trade Kapanen, I think. He's the odd man out. Orsblad, he's a man out. I'm not so on Pauline because he's very young. He still has some of this. I thought he may have something here. I don't know what exactly he'll. I think Blugor, he just hasn't been healthy right now. I think he just needs a little more time to get healthy before he really gets back to, the Teddy Bluger we all know. Because Teddy Bluger's a great third line center, or fourth line, like wherever you have him. He's done good in the NHL for the most part. I just think right now he's a little banged up. He needs a little more time to, get back to full strength. So I'm not worried about him. I think he's fine. I think mainly it's just Kapanen you got to worry about right now. It's like, why are we paying him that much? You know what I mean? Like, I think he's the one you got to look at. I think Heinen's fine. I like Heinen where he is. I really like Heinen. I think he's not a problem. But there's some people on the fourth line right now that I have some questions about. I know Artsblad, he's one of them. Like, he's made some good plays that I've seen. I know he was an opener when I was there. He was blocking shots. He was getting out. I liked that. But then there's other things I've seen that I just don't like from him. So that's where my questions really arise. There's like, do we have better players than Wilkes-Barre? And I think there are definitely that's the case. But you gotta figure out what to do with these guys you have up here because you can't really call them down or anything like that. Because then you put them on waivers. Then, like, if you're gonna get rid of them, you want to at least get something from them. You know what I mean? And I think pieces like Kapanen, I think if used, it'd have to be something else and probably force on pick. But I feel like he is the perfect player you can use in a big package for a big time player. I legitimately think if you put him in a package for a big time player, he's like one of those perfect players you can put in there. So I think if you're trading him, I would wait till on like trade deadline, and I would see what big name I can get. If I can get a big name and he can fit into Pittsburgh well, I'm gonna use Kapanen. I'm probably gonna use Jason Zucker, like one more forward, and maybe like Dumoulin, and a first round pick if I need to do two. And just see what kind of guy can I get. Can I get a guy who can extend our window for years to come? That's the way I see it. Like, I just think Wilkes-Barre, if we're getting those guys up, a trade needs to happen because there's not enough spaces right now for them. I think that's the main problem. But I think trades, they're not coming right now. I think it'll be a little more down the road. Like, I'm thinking more like January, February-wise, we're going to see the trades and stuff. But I think we're going to see kind of like 2016. Now, this season reminds me a lot of 2016 right now. Bengals in 2016, they struggled a lot in the regular season. Now, do I think they're going to fire Sullivan? No, I don't think you need to fire the head coach. I think it's more, because they did other stuff too in 2016. Like, they made moves to get people. They caught up the young guys. That's how I'm in 2016. That's how I see this year. I think they're going to call up the big guys, and I think they're going to be fine. I think that's the main thing right now. It's just, you need to figure out what places can we do this at. Like, who can we move to get them up to, like, where can they fit in? Because right now, there's not exactly a place they can fit in, but, like, we have to look and see, well, what can fit in here? Like, where can they fit in? And I think that's really the biggest question with Wilkes-Barre. It's like, there's no question that they can be good. The question is, where can we put them? Because we don't have enough spots. So you have to look at that, really. So, any thoughts on that, Tyler?
Definitely. With Wilkes-Barre and the depth is all down there, and there's a lot of similarities between the 2016 team and this team here. But I just want to quickly run through some more issues here. The Penguins can't play a full 60-minute game. Your last three games versus the Kraken, the Sabres, and the Bruins. You had leads in all three of them, and you blow it. Boston game, 5-2 at one point. In the third period, or in the second period, I guess it was 5-3 heading into the third period, but still. Penguins, Sabres, 19 minutes left to go of the game, and you're winning 3-1. And then the Kraken game, you had a 1-0 lead in the second. You quickly blew it a few minutes later. Can't play a full 60-minute game, you're not going to win hockey games. It's very self-explanatory here. And that's just the bottom line. Special teams, probably one of the worst. With Mike Vellucci and stepping in with working with the penalty kill, just not cutting it right now. And Evan Rodriguez is really missed with that. Penguins power play. It just doesn't feel like Malkin's that quarterback, that piggy bank to that power play anymore. And I think the Penguins' power play is really taking a toll on that with Malkin's slap shot. Um, Again, goaltending's a big thing. Casey Smith hasn't won a game yet this year. So, uh, goaltending struggling. It feels like it always struggles sometimes here in Pittsburgh. And then the lineup decisions. Like, why are you putting Rust on the first line, Raquel on the second? Why are you only playing Raquel 14 minutes a night? Why are you benching Sam Poland? Why is Brian Dumoulin getting so much playing time? And that's the big problem, too. It's probably the biggest problem, is Brian Dumoulin. Terrible. Atrocious. It's like he doesn't even try. It's a shame to say here with all these veterans on this team, our best defenseman since the Canadian road trip has been P.O. Joseph, which says a lot. Letang has been very crappy. Dumoulin, especially, mistake after mistake. Everybody wants him gone. And who's to say that they don't? Because he's probably the reason why we single-handedly lost these games. Jeff Petry's another one. Takes a lot of penalties. He really brings that physicality to Pittsburgh, but not cutting it. And it makes me feel like guys like Ty Smith needs to be called up. Mark Friedman needs to be called up. Chad Ruedel needs to be in the lineup. Stuff like that to help the Penguins get better. But Joey, what do you think with all this, like, lineup decisions, defensive mistakes? Like, all these decisions, goaltending, like any of this stuff, what catches you the most?
Yeah, so what gets me most is the defense here. I agree with you. I think Ty Smith needs to be called up here. I think you need to put like the hot on something, like just put some like the veterans on the hot seat there. I think Dumoulin, I agree, but then again, I also think this could just be like he's just having some struggles right now. Just trying to get used to it after the whole off season. So we'll have to see what happens with him. I think with PT right now, I'm not that concerned about him. I think the thing is with him is he's a new piece. He's playing in a new system right now. Like, he's going to need some time to adapt. And it's only in a year. I think he's going to fit in. I think he's just trying to figure out how exactly he fits in it. I think that's what the Penguins are doing, too. Like, he's a good defenseman. You just need to figure out how to use him here. And I think he's trying to figure out how he fits into this system. The Penguins are trying to figure out how he fits in the system. That's normal for a new player, which just comes from, like, a totally different system. That's in the Canadian systems. I don't think they're that similar. I could be wrong, but I just don't think they are. I think it's going to take him a little more time to get used to it. I think we had seen him with Cal last year. Like, when we first got him, he wasn't, like, insanely good. Like, we always found him doing very good. Like, it took him some time to adapt, get used to the system. I think that's what we're seeing of Petry right now. That's just my thoughts. I could be wrong, but I think this way I'm looking at it, that's what I see of him. I think Dumoulin, it could be just age now, getting up from, because he's been very good in years past. So I don't know what's up with him this year, but he's been good in years past. It could be age. It could just be he's just having some struggles right now, and he's just, it's in a little bit of a slump right now. Maybe just getting out of it. Playoffs can be very slumpy. Like, every player in itself has slumps for the most part, and Dumoulin could just be in one right now. I don't know on that, but I think the main problem the defense here is it takes too much. It takes too many penalties. The Penguins take too many penalties a game. It's just something they need to cut down on. I think some of the physicality, like added physicality, may be the issue for that. But I also agree the Penguins need to be physical. But honestly, I think defensively, I would say call Ty Smith up, send someone down. I honestly think of Friedman and Ruedel. I'm not big fans of them. I like how Friedman's physical, but Ruedel, in my opinion, like, he's okay. Like, he's not bad, but I don't think the Penguins have. Like, he's not better than anyone else in the Penguins lineup that he should be in now. Like, he's an average defenseman, in my opinion. I don't think he's anything special. I would honestly say here, if I'm the Penguins, I call up Ty Smith, and honestly, trade deadline-wise, when we get there, look for a defenseman, like a younger defenseman. I think the problem with this defense is it's old. I think they need more young blood like POJ. I think Ty Smith will start, but I think you need a little more as well, if you know what I mean. But I think that's the main lineup problems. I think the West Raquel thing, I think they need to change that back to Raquel on the Crosby line, West on Mokley. I think those two just work better with Crosby. Like, Raquel works better with Crosby, West works better with Malkin. I just think that's the best way to do this. Um, I think definitely. I think you're talking about power play with Malkin. I don't really see what you're talking about here. It's like I know it doesn't have the slaps on it, but I think the power play they're scoring on most of them by this point. They're not. I think power play wise, they're doing fine. It's the penalty kill that's the point. I think they need to look at seeing are there any guys in Wilkes Barre that can do a better penalty kill. It's be better fit for them. It's going back more like the Wilkes Barre. It's like who the hell can do better for us? And I think I think you look at Wilkes Barre and see what can you get there. They can help us out now. Any thoughts on that, Tyler?
Yeah, like I said, changes have to be made in this. Definitely the line that we have isn't going to stop. And you got a relatively difficult schedule coming up. Your next 3 games on the road are against the Capitals, Maple Leafs, and Canadiens. Those are difficult teams, especially Washington and Toronto. Montreal, they've already beat us once this year in overtime. Again, that game should have been a game we won. Brian Dumoulin, Jeff Petrie making those mistakes. But, as I wrap up this first segment here, you just got to be better. I don't know how the Penguins are going to do with that. I'm sure Crosby's got this all under control here. He's been getting a little feisty and annoyed because he hasn't had this bad of a losing streak since his rookie season. And if the Penguins don't make the playoffs, this is a losing streak that you can go back on and say, ooh, what could I have done better? What could the team have done better to change this losing streak? And, we could have squeaked into the playoffs if this would have never happened. But that is going to do it for this first segment of the Answers at the Point podcast. So coming up in the next segment, we are going to look over the new logos revealed for the Winter Classic and give our thoughts on the Winter Classic jerseys. And for the last segment, Joey and I each have one player that we think the Penguins could trade for. So that is all coming up right after this commercial break. All right, welcome back to this episode of the Answers at the Point podcast. And in this segment, Joey Orsborn and I, we will be reviewing the Penguins and Bruins new logos and the suspected jerseys for the Winter Classic. So on November 1st, the Penguins and Bruins revealed the logos for them and announced that the jerseys for both teams will be revealed on Friday, November 25th, which is a little over 2 weeks now, as we're recording this. And the Penguins are going going to the pre-Penguins era, as the Penguins are bringing the Pittsburgh Pirates old P logo from the NHL franchise and not the baseball team Pittsburgh Pirates. But the P in the Penguins logo is supposed to represent Pittsburgh and Penguins with this. And the Boston Bruins are going with an old word mark, I should say, a Boston with the Bruins' famous Meth Bear logo underneath. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the word mark and then the Meth Bear underneath, or just the Meth Bear. I'm very curious to see what the Bruins do here. But Joey, what do you think of these logos? Like, do you think both teams did a good job picking what they're doing for the Winter Classic?
Yeah, first I just want to say the name Meth Bear for the Bruins one's hilarious. Like, that's just funny. It's the Bruins. I'm gonna start first here. It's interesting to say the least. It's an iconic logo for them. They used it a lot in the '90s. Like, it's well known. I think there's fans out there who like really like it, but then there's also the fans who hate it. But overall, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I don't hate it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like it's one of those like ones. Though it does look crazy as heck. But yeah, I think they're definitely them getting back with a throwback. That's one of the better ones. I would normally say they should have done the Pooh Bear, but they already did have the reverse retros. So I think doing this one as well, to see like you use both of them, they're both well known, works out well. The Pittsburgh Penguins one with the P, it's interesting. I think it's difficult going back to some more like the pre-Penguins roots, the Pirates, not the baseball team, sadly. Yeah, but no, it's definitely interesting to see. I like that they both did that. It's now foggy that not many Pittsburghers know about, so it's to see how that works out. But yeah, no, they're interesting. How about you, Tal?
I think that they're interesting too. Boston's is a little bit weird, I do must say,
Yeah,
but
that's weird.
I do like the direction that the Penguins are heading with this one, and we kind of knew this already. Originally, the first thing that we heard is it wouldn't be a logo on the front; it'd be a word mark. So everyone's like, "Oh, another Pittsburgh diagonal, maybe a nice blue black
Yeah.
uh, version on a white jersey, which would have been perfect, and I would have been really happy about." But it does look like they're going pre-Penguins is a good choice. I have heard that baby blue and navy would be incorporated, but after seeing the Penguins go this direction with the black and gold, it makes you wonder: is it just going to be a black and gold jersey, or are they going to throw some navy and some baby blue in this jersey? And it's very curious to see what they're doing on November 25th here, and basically this confirms that uh, it's a cream jersey, which I am very happy that the Penguins are deciding to do. All NHL away teams who participate in the Winter Classic have been doing cream jerseys, and I think it's a great addition for the Penguins to have a cream jersey like that. And I'm just very excited to see what this is. I know a lot of Penguin fans aren't happy with this because they want to see those baby blues return or the navies return with the old original logo, but you know the Penguins are honoring the past of Pittsburgh hockey with the franchise that came before them in the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, it does make me wonder because in the Pirates jerseys, it was the P and it said Pirates in cursive over top. And the Penguins have actually released a their word mark, Penguins in that cursive font of the Pirates. So it makes me wonder: is it just going to be that P on that cream jersey, or is it going to be that P? It says Penguins over top of it, just like how the Pirates jersey was back in that on that cream jersey. And it doesn't matter what the Penguins go with that, but it's gonna look cool. And then Boston, the Meth Bear, they changed it up a bit. They're going with a brown version versus that yellow version. It looks like that theirs is going to be either a black or a brown jersey, but like, this is a Penguins podcast. I really don't care much about the Bruins right now, but Joey, like, what do you think of the Penguins' direction here with the cream jersey? Like, is that font going to be over that P on that front crest? Like, what are the Penguins going to do here? What do you think?
Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking here. Because I know the Pirates ones, like the rest of the have like gradients, like they have like one color here, one color there, one color down there. I think that's what the Penguins are gonna do. I think the middle section will be cream. I think overall will be cream, but there'll be like blue stripes and like they want. I think they're gonna do the blues here. I think they're gonna do that's kind of like a throwback to the '70s era, because in the '70s era they had black and gold like logos, but the uniforms are blue. So like they have the black and gold like penguin like this, and then they'd have this part would be blue. So I think they're gonna do a throwback like that as well. It's kind of a callback. But I think it's gonna be kind of like that. It's like the one section will be cream, one stripe will be like blue, the other one will be the other blue. I think that's what they're going with, because that's what the original like Pittsburgh Pirates ones kind of look like. I think they're gonna go off that with them. Any thoughts on that, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm just kind of happy with the Penguins' direction here. I don't necessarily think that this is a uniform I would buy right away, but definitely something down the road, something that I would want to purchase, but like all my eyes right now is on that Robo Penguin reverse retro jersey, but I don't know who doesn't want that jersey because it's like, take my money right away, take all my hard earned paychecks, and there you go. And I can't wait for that jersey to release, but uh, I think that this is the right direction that the Penguins are going here, honoring their past. And I can't wait till November 25th when they release these jerseys as the Penguins and the Bruins will. So that is going to do it for this second segment of the Yinzers at the Point podcast. Coming up in the final segment of today's episode, Joey and I each have one player that we think the Penguins could be targeting for a trade, and we will discuss who those players are in the final segment. So stick around for that right after this break. All right, welcome back to the final segment of today's episode here. And in this segment, Joey and I each have one player that we think that the Penguins can be targeting for a trade here. And getting right on into it, Joey, since you are the guest on the show, I will have you go first. So who do you think the Penguins could be targeting here for a trade?
Well, I think they're going to look up to Edmonton and go over to Jesse Puljujarvi. He's a young, I think 24 years old, $30 million cap hit. I think he's the perfect fit for the Penguins. He's a young, very high-skilled, very high pedigree player. He's a winger. I think that's definitely what the Penguins need him now. I think he's going to extend the window pretty much for the Penguins, which is good. I think a return for him is probably going to be Kapanen, Zucker, Dumoulin, and probably at least one first-round pick, maybe two. But I'm going to lean more to the one first-round pick. I think this trade benefits the Penguins a lot. It gives them a lot of cap space, freedom here. I know, they need a lot of cap. You get rid of Kapanen's cap, you get rid of Dumoulin's big cap, you get rid of Zucker's big cap, and you get a very high pedigree type of a player who's very young and can be easily re-signed. For the most part, I think also the benefit of Edmonton too is they need some defensive help. Dumoulin can come in, needs more forwards. You got Zucker who's going to help big, and then Kapanen can probably, of a change of scene where I feel like he could probably do better. So I think that, honestly, this trade, if they do it, it'll be a win-win for both sides. I think it's a big win for the Penguins forever, but it'd be a win-win scenario, I think, for both sides here. So, Tyler, you also got a player here, so who are you thinking about?
I'm thinking the Penguins will go out west to the land of the Sharks, to the Shark Tank, the San Jose Sharks. They are a team that is selling everybody right now except for Thomas Hertl, and I think that if I was Ron Hextall, I would be nonstop calling about Timo Meier here. He's a relatively young player. He is 24 years old. I am pretty sure. He's on his last year of his deal, making $6 million per. He'll be an RFA at the end of the year, so you can qualify him. Especially if the cap's going to be raising $5 million and you only got to sign Jari really this offseason. You're going to have that money to spend, and why not address that top six and get Timo Meier. Now, sure, it would be a sizable return. You got to get rid of course, a first-round pick probably. Jason Zucker might be in that deal. I mean, he has 8 points in 9 games this year for him, and it's looking like he's playing up to that $5.5 million on the contract. But that could be someone that you can throw in as a return. Brian Dumoulin, if you could dump him in this, absolutely a win scenario. And Teddy Bluger can maybe go in this, but definitely a first round pick. And it can really address the top line here, and it could turn out to be in one of those deals that has Phil Kessel coming in. Especially if the Penguins make a deal like maybe, with Joey's saying with Jesse Puljujärvi, Kapanen and Puljujärvi 1-for-1. Are you doing it or not? You're addressing, Puljujärvi's the guy, put anyone in your lineup. Myers the guy you can put on line 1 or 2 with that. And Jason Zucker can play down on that third line. But Joey, you think Timo Meier, Jesse Puljujärvi, you think either both of them would be a fit in Pittsburgh and help with that much needed scoring depth and defensive depth with the team?
Yeah, I think both would be big helps. I think both young, both extend the window, both high pedigree players can play hard, play well. I think Puljujärvi, he's a guy you can put at one of the first top 2 lines, and he'll do well. I think whenever they put him with McDavid, he's done very well. Put him with someone like Crosby or Malkin, I think he'll do very well. Timo Meier, he's a proven talent. He's one of the best out there. I think you put him on either line. I think probably Malkin, though. Over the 2, I think you're going to put him on Malkin. He's going to be exceptionally well. I think either way, and either of these 2 players you bring in are going to do exceptionally well for the Penguins and be a big name and a big player.
Yeah, so both forwards that could really help the Penguins if they choose to make a trade. I don't think that a trade, again, is imminent right now, especially with the 7-game losing streak. But, as I wrap up this episode and stuff, it's just, how is the Penguins going to adapt to this? You got to make changes in your lineup to help you win. I'll look here at the road ahead here for the Penguins. Next 6 of the Penguins' next 7 home games are on the road. You got in Washington on Wednesday, in Toronto on Friday, and in Montreal on Friday. And that's what you got this week. And then you're back home to play the Toronto Maple Leafs at home, where those reverse retros debut in Pittsburgh. And, you just got to adapt. But before I close this out, I just want to thank Joey Orsborn for coming on to this episode of the Injuries at the Point podcast. And Joey, would you like to give the fans your socials so they can where they can find you?
Yeah, first off, thank you for having me on the show. It was a pleasure to be on here. The Joey Orsborn Show, basically we're a sports podcast, talk about NHL, NFL, NBA, MLB, all sorts of stuff. So basically, as I like to say, I talk about the biggest sports of the week here. It's give you the lowdown on it. Pretty much, we post all the big podcast ones. We post on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. We now finally have live episodes on YouTube, so check out the YouTube page. It's just look up the Joey Orsborn Show. We're the first one that comes up. Yes, we got all sorts of episodes on now. We got Instagram as well, so check that for updates as well. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We just had our first guest on last episode. We had Mr. Evan Wright. He's a fullback for Grove City College. So we got to talk to him a little bit. Talked about Steelers football. Talked a little about WVU and their struggles. But yeah, it's a good time. Hopefully you guys check it out. And yeah, thanks for having me, Tyler.
It was a pleasure having you. And I don't know when my next episode is going to be, fellow Yinzers. And I'm still recovering from being sick and, with school. It's been very hard to make these episodes, but I hope you enjoy this episode, and I will hopefully have another episode soon for you guys. So again, have a great day, everybody, and let's go Pens.